Our next speaker has spent a lot of time working with educational technology and venture capital. Today, he's a senior software engineer at Ramp, the ultimate platform for modern finance teams. He focuses on spend management software, including corporate cards, spending limits, approvals, policy enforcement, budgeting, and reporting. You know, the fun stuff. The title of his talk is Engineering Velocity at Ramp. Let's give a warm stretch stage welcome to Samay Shamdasani.
Thank you, Alex, for the warm welcome. My name is Samay, and I'm an engineer at Ramp, the ultimate platform for modern finance teams. Today, we're going to be talking about engineering velocity. So let's jump in. Ramp is the ultimate platform for modern finance teams. Starting in 2019, we launched a corporate card product, and the years after that, we launched 4 other products: expense management, accounting automation, accounts payable, and procurement. We've been able to do that in less than 4.5 years. And since 2019, Ramp has been growing extremely fast. We serve over 15,000 customers, process over 10 billion of total payments volume, and power category-defining companies like Shopify, Webflow, and Anduril. Before we go into how Ramp ships product so quickly, I want to highlight 2 components that make Ramp extremely special. One, our mission. Our mission is to save our customers their most precious resources, their time and their money. Every single project, initiative, service, or feature that we work on is focused on this mission. Am I working on the highest leverage thing to make the businesses that we serve more efficient? Are we saving them their most precious resources, their time and their money? The second component that makes Ramp so special on the organizational level is that ambition is in our DNA. We like to move extremely fast. When I first joined Ramp, we were 70 employees. And when I joined, I was blown away because when we started, the team spent 3 months building a competitor to American Express, 6 months after that building a competitor to Expensify, and was about to take a new bet in the accounts payable world and compete against Bill.com. The team and the pace at which our team operates is unprecedented, and it's something that is core to how Ramp operates on a day-to-day basis. So let's dive into how Ramp ships product incredibly fast. So let's start with the role of engineering. The role of engineering is to create an asset. At Ramp, we are creating an asset, software, that generates value for our customers in the form of saving them time and money. These 2 metrics, total money savings and total time savings, are displayed both internally and externally. The way we calculate this is we take how long it would take to process some action that you would do on Ramp compared to the alternative. For example, I'm sure all of you have filed expense reports for work, or submitted a receipt manually using an incumbent's tool, or coming into your office and handing a receipt to your finance team member manually to get reimbursed. With Ramp, it's all automated. So that's time saved and money saved, because at the end of the day, time is money. It's clear ROI through automation. Engineers at Ramp fully own the how, and they often push the team on the what, the why, and the when. And that's so much more than just writing code. Engineers at Ramp are ownership-driven, focus on documentation, seeking out customer feedback, writing product memos to push product and design thinking, and overall, they just care about winning the market. It's that energy that when you walk into the room, they're here to win. And that's what everyone at Ramp has, even beyond engineering. The way we design our team is that so every engineer and their interests and strengths can be mapped to a team which maps to broader business goals. So if an engineer is interested in 0 to 1 type products, which involve fast iteration and talking to customers, they should probably join a product engineering team. But if they're interested in AI or ML, they should probably join our applied AI team. We focus on creating the teams for engineers to perform at their highest so that work doesn't feel like work. It's super fun, and you're working on things that interest you. We focus on having small, single-threaded teams that are directly tied to business goals. Small teams improve velocity, and larger teams significantly hinder velocity. Why is that? It's because with larger teams, you have more communication overhead, more alignment overhead, and in general, it's just harder to get things done. At Ramp, every pod, as we like to call it, has 1 PM, 1 designer, 1 tech lead, and 2 to 3 engineers solely focused on a single problem at a time. Now that we've talked a little bit about the role of engineering and how Ramp likes to think about structure, team structure overall, let's dig into specific engineering principles that I've taken away over the past few years being a part of the product development process at Ramp. The first lesson is building on the right abstractions. This is a problem that I face nearly weekly at Ramp. When you're going to go and build a new feature, there's many different ways you can go about it. But the most common way is to build on top of what you've already created. The abstractions in your code base stay. But the truth of the matter is that these abstractions were probably created under different assumptions, different product requirements, and often even by a different team. It's important to continue to question the abstractions that you're building on top of, because the wrong abstractions can significantly hinder your velocity, while the right ones can accelerate them. Here's an example where the principle, duplication is far cheaper than the wrong abstraction, comes into play. It's much better to introduce duplication instead of building on the wrong abstraction. And at Ramp, a practical example of this is modeling an entity that has to get paid out. Ramp offers corporate cards. When a card is swiped, we process the payment through the Visa card network and that gets sent to the merchant. Ramp also offers bill payments. When someone uploads a bill or an invoice, they can click the Pay Bill button after it's been approved, and it'll go through the ACH bank network. Now, card merchants and bill vendors are modeled as 2 different entities in Ramp. They both are entities that have to be paid out, but they're different entities in the code base, in our logic, in the product, and there's no need to abstract it away. As soon as product requirements change or assumptions change, and we need to abstract this, we will go and think about the right abstraction, but there's no clean abstraction right now, so we live with duplication. On the other hand, the right abstraction is cheaper than duplication. An example of the right abstraction at Ramp would be our spend event model. The premise behind this is that customers want to be able to see reporting of their spend across any payment type and slice and dice it along any dimension. In order to do this, we built a layer on top of our core models, transactions, reimbursements, and bill payments, to be able to represent any type of spend, called a spend event. In the future, we can continue to build upon this abstraction, and it's going to dramatically accelerate velocity, because if we focus on building a new concept or a new product on top of this model, we get extensibility across multiple payment types for free. The next lesson I've learned over the past few years is to invest in platforms strategically to increase velocity. Platform teams dramatically speed up the time to market across multiple products. If you take a look at this chart, product number 1 probably requires the most investment, especially if you're building a platform along with it. But over time, product number 2, 3, 4, and so on, you'll be able to accelerate the development velocity dramatically because you're using platforms. At Ramp, platforms are often engineering-driven and pushed for to be prioritized, and the prioritization discussion is made together with product and design because it's in the best interest of the company and its long-term success. At Ramp, we like to embed platforms within product teams for as long as possible. If platform teams are siloed, they risk not getting enough context about the product and business. When they're embedded into product teams, they're actually able to land on better abstractions faster. This is an example of our payments platform built by a talented engineer named Shreyan. And this payment platform goes ahead and powers several of our core products today. Reimbursements, when an employee files a reimbursement and needs to be paid out through ACH by their company. It powers our bill payment product to pay vendors via ACH. And it powers our Flex loan product, which helps companies better manage their cash flow. Another example of a platform that we've built that has dramatically increased velocity is the Workflows platform. The Workflows platform is a dynamic if this, then that platform for finance. You can automate any business process within Ramp through a conditions engine that is built across the front-end UI and the back-end. Excuse me. The next lesson that I've taken away over the past few years is to be extremely mindful of the stage your product is at. Going from 0 to 1 and taking a new bet on a product is very different from going to 1 to N and growing and scaling that product. When you're building an MVP, you should be moving fast and breaking things. You're trying to get to market as fast as possible, and you're trying to find product market fit. It's much better to go optimize for the simple solutions, the ones that bring you 80% of the value with 20% of the effort, than anything else. On the other hand, if you're focused on growing and maintaining a product, going from 1 to N, you still should move fast, but stop breaking things. You should focus on the more comprehensive solutions, because at scale, single-digit percentage points in accuracy and improvements matter a lot. And you'd focus on scale, documentation, and reliability. Whenever we're working on a product, whether it's new, mature, we constantly are thinking, what stage are we at, and what level of solution do we need to solve this problem? Here's an example that I love looking at. At Ramp, it really shows the fact that we think about the stage our product is at every step of the product development process. So the Chase credit card statement, Chase is my credit card provider of choice for consumer expenses. And if you look at your statement, it's extremely confusing to understand what you spent your money on. It says MTA, MetroCard, okay, maybe that's a subway, okay, that makes sense. I have to concentrate when I'm looking at this statement. And quite frankly, it's just not the best experience. At Ramp, on day 1, we wanted to support a beautiful UI that shows the merchant logo, the merchant name, category, and such. How do we do that, right? We're a small startup. We maybe have few engineers. How do we support this? How do we sanitize the merchant? How do we do something that Chase, a company worth hundreds of billions of dollars, can't do or hasn't done till date? Well, we thought about it for a bit, and we ended up going with a very simple solution. We outsourced the job to Google, and we used the Google Search API and grabbed the first search result, and used that to get the logo and the sanitized merchant name. Now, this worked maybe 85, 90% of the time. It wasn't perfect, but it was the right solution for the job. And we were able to go move extremely quickly and move to the next feature and the next one and the next one. That allowed us to help build this feedback loop between our customers and eventually go win big deals. Another example where over-engineering could have hindered velocity is one of our most used features at Ramp today. That's called receipt matching. Receipt matching is a feature where you can email or SMS text your receipt to Ramp, and we will go and automatically match that receipt to a transaction made with a Ramp corporate card or start a draft reimbursement for you. Now, this is a pretty complicated feature at first, right? It seems probably needs some sort of ML model, probably need to train it in a lot of data, have some sort of validation set. Seems insanely complicated, probably a few months or a few quarters to go build. But at Ramp, we supported it in a few weeks on day 1. The way we did it, very similar to thinking about how we would support sanitizing the merchant in the previous slide. Is all we did was call an OCR API and use a simple set of heuristics with the scoring function. And it worked. It worked most of the time. At scale, it's probably not the best solution, which is why a year ago we shifted to using an ML-based solution that's actively being tweaked and improved right now. But for the first 3.5 years, this worked perfectly fine and allowed us to continue iterating. And the engineer that worked on this, that spent a few weeks working on this receipt matching feature, was able to go move on to more impactful work because the solution we landed out was right for the stage that we are at. The next principle I like to highlight is to continuously focus on delivering customer value. If you take a look at the two remotes here, the team that built the cable TV remote on the left probably did a good amount of customer discovery, probably went and talked to their customers, asked them about their problems, asked them about potential solutions, and then implemented whatever the customer told them to implement. However, the team on the right, who built the remote on the right, probably did something similar. But instead of listening to the customer's solutions, they listened to the customer's problems and built an opinionated solution to solving those problems that delivered a 10x better and more delightful experience. Everyone wants the car. They don't want the faster horse. The 10x order of magnitude improvement, not the iterative improvement. Another example that I love to highlight is AI. Over the past few months, every company has been rushing to integrate generative AI into their products. And while every company created a thin layer chatbot across their product, we sought to understand how can we use AI and embed AI into our core products to create value for our customers, to be able to save them time and money. One of the ways we've done that is our expense intelligence product, which is a 24/7 policy auditor. You don't need any more manual review of reimbursements and transactions that your employees are spending on, because Ramp's AI will take care of it for you. We'll detect alcohol on receipts. We'll go and see if a receipt's itemized or not. We'll see if it's a duplicate receipt and your employee's trying to fraud you. We'll see if you're excessively tipping, right? Tipping more than you should. And we'll keep all that spend in check. Another example that creates super solid ROI, and I love highlighting, is our pricing intelligence product. Whenever a customer uploads a contract for a SaaS vendor, we will go and extract those terms. How many seats, how much does it cost? And we'll look that up in our shared database of contracts of other customers on Ramp, and we'll be able to tell customers how much they can negotiate to, based on other customers their size. Really just creating cold, hard value, ROI for our customers through AI. Now, I know what you must be thinking. You must be thinking that, hey, Ramp ships product super quickly, top-notch product engineering and design team. There has to be some catch, right? We're probably not focusing on quality. We probably have a lot of tech debt. We probably have a lot of scaling issues. And I'm not going to lie to you, we do have those problems. Every company has tech debt, scaling issues, and problems of the like. But I would like to argue that focusing on velocity is more important than anything else. And the reason I say that, I think this quote explains it better, so we can start with that, and then I can go into how Ramp thinks about it. But let me go ahead and read this quote. There is a virtuous circle in quality and speed. Teams that have high quality, maintainable software are able to ship faster. And teams that are able to ship faster can invest more time in the maintenance and quality, leading them to have code bases that are higher quality and more maintainable. However, this doesn't happen if you're not bringing speed and quality into every aspect of a team's work. And that's exactly how Ramp thinks about it. Velocity and quality, it's not a firm inverse relationship. It's not an or, it's not velocity or quality. It's velocity and quality. The next thing that I love to highlight is we utilize vendors as much as we can if it makes sense. Ramp evaluates vendors through an ROI basis, right? We can go and build every single integration for every single enterprise customer for HRIS and then other components of a company's stack. But is it the highest leverage thing an engineer at Ramp should focus on? Probably not. so we'll go use a vendor like Merge. On the other hand, something as simple, this happened a few weeks ago. We got a lot of complaints from our customers. These CSV file uploads are buggy. You guys are not validating it correctly. It's causing buggy behavior. Please fix this. And we thought about it, right? Should we go and focus on building the best CSV file upload experience, right? Because finance teams are uploading a bunch of different data on people to invite and cards to create and such. Or should we outsource that? So we use one schema. And then the same for KYB and KYC compliance, right? Should we be manually verifying these businesses, or should we use a vendor? Ramp uses dozens of vendors. Building software as a service today is very different than what it was 10 years ago. So embrace new vendors, take a bet on them, and use it as a competitive advantage. And the last big point that I've picked up on being at Ramp is our hiring philosophy. Our CTO loves to proclaim the fact that you should go and hire for slope, someone's slope, not their y-intercept. It's all about the speed at which they are growing, not their experience. And I think there are certain cases where you do want to hire people for experience. But if you're hiring for slope, you're not going to miss out on the rock stars. This is something that's pretty close to me, because I was a hire made in this philosophy. I started working at Ramp 2.5 years ago out of college, or during college, and I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunity. Didn't have that much experience, but I grew a ton through being in this environment, and forever thankful for this opportunity. And that's it. That's how we ship products incredibly fast. If you're interested in learning more, check out our engineering principles. That's our blog post. We have a full-on engineering blog that has a lot more content about how we like to think about product development. If you're interested in joining us, check out our careers page. And if you're interested in connecting with me, I'm active on Twitter and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I'd love to go learn about lessons that you guys have from your organizations so we can all become better and ship faster. Thank you.
Thank you, Samay. Are you ready for a few questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's take a look at Slido. Let's see what's coming up. So we have a couple of questions and lots of time for more. If you have any questions, please add them to Slido. In a pod, is it not overhead to have one full-time PO?
I assume that PO means product owner, if someone can confirm who asked that question. But I will go under that. Is it not overhead to have one full-time product owner? So pods are usually pretty agile. And many times, engineers and PMs are usually spearheading more than one pod. If it's a very critical business function, there might be a few more engineers. That's like the only pod they're working on. But for smaller, more focused pods, PMs are working across 2 or more pods. So yeah, I agree. If the team was super small and you have one full-time product owner on something specific, it is a lot of overhead. But the way we think about PMs at Ramp is that they set the vision, they set the roadmap, of course, in association with product and design teams, but they keep the train running on time, right? They figure out the prioritization, and most importantly, they shield the engineering, the design teams, so that they can focus on what they do best.
To keep the train running on time.
Yep.
Nice connection to our location here. Very well done. Could you please tell us more about the hiring strategy?
For sure. I think in terms of hiring, right, if you're a typical recruiter, they're probably looking at someone's resume and seeing where were they before, what is their experience. But I think when you're getting off the ground, especially in a startup, it's super advantageous to go find the unknown, underrated sort of folks that have so much potential for growth, but don't realize it yet or haven't reached that point yet. Because those are the people that really want to prove themselves, make this a career-defining moment, contribute to the team, and make an impact. And those hires have been invaluable. I think Ramp is very unique in our talent. We have a number of different hires, and I can walk you through different individual profiles of some of the people that I look up to and how unique they are compared to what I've seen in other companies. If you'd like to come up to me. But really, it's all about thinking about slope an individual's growth potential, focusing on that, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Great. Our next question is a legal question. You said velocity is the most important. There was a screen from account log with company logos. Is it a legal trade-off to use logos without authorization?
Oh, in terms of our customers, in the first slide, we use a few company logos to who uses us. We work with their legal team and make sure we have the proper permissions to be able to share those logos. Okay. In the deck.
Are your tech leads roles or positions? Is this distinct from engineering managers?
Yeah. So we don't have the official engineering manager title. Of course, engineers, certain engineers are managers. But I think at Ramp, most engineers, maybe with the exception of like a few director level folks in the engineering team, are expected to contribute and do IC work. I think it's really important that managers go ahead and contribute to the code base in some capacity, at least 10, 15, 20% of their time. They're close to the context, they're close to the code base, they understand constraints, and they're able to better manage the team. So that's one aspect of managers that I think helps also contribute to our velocity and speed. Our tech leads are more roles. So tech leads are, they lead the pod, right? Or multiple pods if like they're like sub-pods. And they focus, they're the lead for the project, lead for like the future and surface area, and will go ahead and be responsible for the entire build.
Okay. There's still time for more questions. If you have them, please add them to Slido. If you're hiring for Slope, do you think you're biasing towards people without children or younger folks?
It's a good question. I think that there are so many people that have been invaluable to the creation of Ramp. A lot of them are older, and they have families, and they have commitments. But at the end of the day, it comes down to are they interested in the product? Are they high ownership? Are they willing to help contribute to making it happen? And I'm delighted to say I think Ramp has a very good distribution of super young and ambitious young engineers, but also super experienced senior engineers and directors and folks in leadership who are focused on, hey, how do I go enable the potential of everyone, right? And I think while I do, maybe fall in that category of Slope, there are a lot of hires that are more experienced and are on the older side.
Okay, good. Are you measuring the time you saved for your customer? You said beside money, it is the most important goal. As you said, beside money, it's the most important goal.
Yep, exactly. Measuring the time you saved for your customer, 100%. The way we are measuring that today is we look at common product interactions on Ramp and compare them to the alternative, right? So with receipts, we have a Gmail integration, right? And we can automatically pull receipts from your email inbox and match it to a transaction the moment you make a transaction. In that case, you did zero amount of work, right? It's completely automated. Maybe if you had to go download it from the portal and then re-upload it to the Ramp platform, or manually forward that receipt, right, that might have taken you maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds. So we'll go calculate that and be able to look at that time and money savings. Now, at the end of the day, I want to be mindful of this metric. These are just directional metrics. This is not our North Star. It's one of the metrics that we track in our North Star, along with other critical business metrics like volume, like users, like retention and such. But this keeps us thinking about, hey, how are we saving more time and money for our customers, which is the overall mission of Ramp.
Okay. As we're waiting for more questions to come in, because we still have some time, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you live in New York City.
Yep.
What's it like? And can you tell us about the most amazing thing that you've seen in recent memory in New York City?
In recent memory, I think New York City is a very dynamic city. There's so many things going on. I think there's the most exciting part, I think for me, are all of the tech events in the tech community. There's Tech Week coming up in New York City, where there's so many different events there, and it's an absolute blast. and there's just a lot of energy, right, on a day-to-day basis. I think that's the most important part.
Very cool. I have some gifts for you. The first is a fancy tee. I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
And we also have an artist's rendering of you. Check that out.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Thank you.
And we'll give a shot to that to the audience and the people at home. Big round of applause for Samay, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.